Hello, my name is Park Soo-bin and I'm today's presenter. For this week, we'll compare the Twin Tower and the Freedom Tower. First of all, let's talk about the foundation of the World Trade Center. The site of the World Trade Center was located on field land with the bedrock located 65 feet below. To construct the WTC, it was necessary to build a bathtub with the slurry wall around the West Street side of the site to keep water from the Hudson River out. Solution is to make an underground concrete wall to surround the site. This was built with a slurry trench method used for the first time in this country. A trench was dug down to bedrock and a thick bentonite slurry was pumped in. The slurry was denser than the surrounding mud and dirt and thus kept the trench walls from collapsing. As each section was completed, 25-ton cages of metal reinforcement parts were lowered into the slurry-filled trench. With the cage in place, concrete was poured in. Since the concrete had a greater density than the slurry was forced up out of the trench and could be used for the next section. And then excavation began. Steel tendons were then inserted through the holes and socketted into bedrock, bracing the wall against external pressure. More than 1,000,000 cubic yards of dirt had to be removed to make way to the Trade Center's foundation. The excavated earth was placed on the Hudson River adjacent to the site. It is a 9-block area under the WTC site that is excavated 70 feet below the ground to the bedrock and surrounded by. After the terrorist attack, even though it was badly damaged, it was working as a barrier. But it couldn't be used for the new building. Due to future of the site, demolishing the former one make new slurry wall wasn't easy, so linear wall system was used. The 911 memorial design provided for the construction of a new reinforced concrete linear wall along the length of the west slurry wall. The process was quite same as the former wall. They drilled core beam right in front of the former slurry wall, placed steel frame and poured concrete to complete the new wall. At the steel frame, it has tie-back anchor heads according to the position of the former anchor head, and drilled the holes connected to the existing tie-backs, and finally the wall became the new slurry wall. After the terrorist attacks, the existing west bathtub was reinforced and the east bathtub was newly established. Of course, when constructing a bathtub, it is the same that the slurry wall method is used. However, the strength and function were reinforced by applying a new construction method. It is important to choose a top-down and bottom-up method when doing foundation work. One WTC chose to build a foundation in the already formed bathtub. Therefore, the bottom-up method was more suitable when creating a foundation than the top-down method. At the 1WTC foundation, you can see the existing bathtub and slurry wall surrounding the outer wall first. Also, it can be seen that the direct foundation work is being built in a bottom-up method inside the bathtub. To the required depth below the ground, digging and removing soil, installing temporary steel strutting and then creating the complete hole with the concrete slab base and open to the sky. As the name suggests, the building work then rises from the concrete slab base. Necessarily, there is a lengthy period of time during the excavation in which construction cannot take place. Reverse circulation drill method was used to drive a 1WTC mega column deep into the base. Maintaining the empty wall is the key to this method. This is a method of discharging excavated soil with water through a drill road, which is a reverse circulation method. After that, iterative work is performed by reverse circulation. When construction is complete, slime is processed and rebar is inserted. Finally, it is possible to excavate deeper than 60 meters by pouring concrete to complete the pile body. Now let's look at the core of these buildings. The Twin Tower core had elevators, major pipes, toilets, 3 stairs, and other support areas. Each tower has a rectangular core of 27 by 41 meters, with 47 steel columns extending from the base rock to the top of the tower. In the column, free space between the outer perimeter and the core, of which was built with a prefabricated floor truss. The floor provides lateral stability to the outer wall and distributes wind loads between the outer walls, considering not only its own weight but also its living load. The floor consists of a lightweight concrete slab about 10 centimeters thick and laid on top of a steel deck. Lightweight bridge trusses and main trusses were laid to support the floor. This truss connects to the boundary of the other pillars and occupies approximately 2.03 meters in the center. The top of truss was tightly connected to the outer spandrel with welds and bolts, and the inner core column was welded. The floor is connected to the surrounding spindle plate with a viscoelastic damper, making it difficult to feel the person inside shaking up and down. Similar to the Twin Tower, 1WTC's core has all egress involving elevator and stair rooms. Especially, stairs are connected from the roof to ground level, and it is protected by a strong core, so even with the emergency, people can evacuate. The core consists concrete with can hold up from 8,000 psi to 14,000 psi and sophisticated steel frame. Compared to the former Twin Towers core, which was made from steel columns and thin concrete sheet, it has 6 feet thick wall so it can withstand from collision. The core structure is compartmentalized with additional interior shear walls in orthogonal directions. Framework become more stable and powerful as well. Moment frame system is applied to make the building safer. It surrounds all over the core forming a tube-like shape. At lower part of the building, the moment frame forms a fortress. Double-layered concrete can protect the building from terror at the ground level. Finally, we can see the difference between WTC and 1WTC's appearance. The height of the One World Trade Center is 1,776 feet. This marks the year that the United States became an independent state. This height and thickness imposes strict demands on the overall strength and stiffness of the structure. To meet this economically, high-strength concrete of up to 14,000 psi was used. The highest concrete compressive strength previously used in New York was 12,000 psi compared to the high-strength concrete used. On the other hand, the World Trade Center tried to build only the height of 80 stories, but the Port Authority demanded that 930,000 square meters of office space be satisfied, resulting in a height of 110 stories. It is 1,362 feet high. It is a low building compared to the One World Trade Center. At this time, it was the tallest building. Compared to the One World Trade Center, the main circle, which was limited in height, was an elevator program. The higher the building, the more elevators are needed, and the area occupied by the building increases. So at that time, the Sky Lobby adopted a method that allows multiple local elevators to be stacked within the same elevator shaft so that it can be used for each floor, allows 62 to 75% increases in available space. Nevertheless, the number of elevators is as many as 97. On the other hand, at One World Trade Center, a high-speed elevator was used to increase the area to be utilized by using a smaller number of elevators, which is 54 compared to the World Trade Center. In the case of the World Trade Center, used a small window with a width of about 46 centimeters. The reason for this was the collaboration between the architect's own fear of heights and what he asked to design so that the occupants of the building feel safe. However, the One World Trade Center was designed in the opposite direction. At One World Trade Center, the whole building was made to be surrounded by glass beyond the use of large windows. One World Trade Center has created more than 12,000 glass panels to form a transparent wall, a huge wall panel that is 5 feet wide and over 13 feet high. They developed windows to realize this design. In doing so, they discovered ultra-low iron glass from Bjarkon and Colton Ware manufacturer Benson Industries. The glass looks transparent from the inside and is polished with a long E-coating on the outmost of the three windows. It is designed to withstand extreme wind and explosion forces, plus 5 thicknesses of plywood and tempered glass. In particular, when this glass is destroyed, it is divided into harmless fragments, and through this, even if the whole body was glass, it was possible to make a building safer, and it was possible to obtain construction approval.